Yo, what's good, troop? What's up, boys? Little trade recap on the two trades I took today. Both of them off stream. It's funny, bro. Literally ended stream right here, and then I hopped off and saw my setup. My setup formed. I was initially kind of waiting for longs, um, and I have a new confluence I'm kind of working on. It's a little bit in the works. Not going to talk about it too much online. It low key kind of cracked. I top ticked and bottom ticked this move. Obviously, the executions do not show that, or at least these trades, not the executions. The models themselves do not show that. When I film the recap, I just throw the implied move on there, and then I talk about them from the pointer. But I actually bottom ticked the move on ES, and I took it right to the London highs up here. But let's talk about the two trades I took today, going into a deep analysis into why they worked, kind of my ideas behind them, all that stuff. Okay, so on the open, let's run through the opening, and we can talk about that real quick. On the open, we came down and swept out our previous New York PM low. I was kind of looking for a move to the upside after this, but I did not get a pointer entry on the 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute time frames. There was one that happened as we came up to this bar right here is a session level density drawn between our London high and Asia high that I actually traded yesterday. That's why I had this level drawn out, and it has its own first fair value gaps. If I drop to a lower time frame, as we come up to that high right there, we actually are reacting to Asia and London first fair value gaps right here. You see these first fair value gaps. I'm just looking at the 5 minute time frame, but it's the same fair value gap. We're reacting to the first fair value gap off of a session level high. So this is a very prominent source of liquidity. This is a very prominent first fair value gap we're reacting to. Um, and so it's viable for a trade. Okay, it's completely viable for a trade. My new confluence top ticked this move off of the London low or London and Asia high. It queued for short position. I did not take the top tick on the short position. I took the pointer execution after we had a 5 minute and 3 minute pointer break of structure. We have first fair value gaps after our external draw of liquidity. Okay, my first and really full take profit was down to our first fair value gaps from the move. We made it to the upside off of our New York sweep, right? So we have this New York sweep right here. Go back on the RTH here. You can see up here we're reacting to those first fair value gaps off of the session high, which became an order block on a lower time frame, which created its own first fair value gaps. So a reaction to first fair value gaps created its own order block. Every order block has its own fair value gaps. So we created, redundantly, but we created that off of that order block. And then I entered on a 5 minute and 3 minute pointer break of structure. You can see it happen right there. There's your 3 minute, and then there's your 5 minute pointer break of structure after we had a sell side sweep that we continued to break structure on. This buy side sweep actually became the new order block to the downside. Buy side sweep, break of structure to the downside that created new fair value gaps. This is the respected order block. You have two order blocks in an implied move. You have the reactionary external source of liquidity, which would be the guy up here, and then you have the one that forms off of the pointer, which would be this guy right here. And then you can see it has its own first fair value gaps that come from that as well. My first target was the first fair value gap on this bullish draw of liquidity from New York sweep. We have our New York PM low right here. That was actually my full target. Then news came out that Trump was doing something about something bombing related, or maybe tax related, or maybe it's Trump. I don't know. But I was banking and it was terrifying. I didn't know where it came from. It was just suddenly out of nowhere. So I fully took profit. It was just terrifying, right? I had no idea what was going to happen. I heard something about Trump, so I exited my position. That's what it's like trading in a Trump economy. I'm sorry I didn't get a bottom tick on the fair value gaps down here. I would have maybe potentially have held it. I would have maybe targeted London lows or a different low like these London lows here. I'm not sure. I don't know. Trump started to open his mouth. My trading brain said, scary, not fun time. Okay, so I stopped. I was like, I'm done. But theoretically, you could have taken this to the first fair value gaps in here, or this AM low. Theoretically, you could have taken to the London low, which is actually where I bottom ticked for a trade to the upside. Okay, which we're going to talk about. Super simple execution, 3 minute, 5 minute pointer after respecting the session level density and first fair value gaps of a previous session, taking all this low res liquidity with us along the way, targeting its first fair value gap as our draw liquidity. Could have targeted more if I didn't panic, but that's the reality of trading. I try to be very transparent when I make these videos. I actually don't remember the amount of money I made on this. It was not a whole lot. I made a disgusting amount of money on this, like disgusting, bands, disgusting. This was very small, not my typical size, and I took it only on a couple of my XFAs. This copy traded along 5 XFAs. Generational retirement, Harvard, go to whatever school you want, son, wherever you want to go type money, bro. Okay, like iced out penthouse, bro, type money. Insane level of bands printed on this. So this actually, I did bottom tick with my new confluence because it was a perfect 5-minute pointer bottom tick on my new confluence, which I have not taught. It's not on my screen. I'm not going to be teaching it. Do not ask me. I don't know how to teach it. I think I'll be killed if I teach it, so I'm not going to be teaching it. But I am perfectly top ticking and bottom ticking. It happened here, happened here. We're coming down and reacting to our first fair value gaps over here off of this previous order block sweep of New York AM liquidity. We leave behind session level liquidity here. This is a London or AM level liquidity here. I'm sure there's London liquidity in there as well. I'm just not looking at that. We leave behind this again. I chart all this stuff at the beginning of the week. So we have a session level liquidity, 3-minute, 2-minute, 1-minute fair value gap, and then beneath that is a session level density, and then beneath that is a new session level density with inverse fair value gaps being maintained. So much stuff going on in here. You can see we actually come down and we have an immediate 5-minute pointer break of structure. An immediate 5-minute pointer break of structure off of our first fair value gaps. And usually I would not have taken I would never have taken this. I would have waited for new first fair value gaps, right? Like I did up here. But new confluence, I was forward testing. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I was on the phone with Robin. I'm like, bottom tick. Bottom tick. It bottom ticked. In fact, I even have screenshots to prove that, which I might not pull up. This might take a second. This might take a second. Okay, yeah, right here. Okay. Here you go. Image size too small. Awesome. Okay. Love it. Okay. Image type. Okay. Cool. I don't think I'm gonna be able to show. It won't let me show it. Image is way too large. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna copy the message over. This is unnecessary. Bottom ticks talks for breakfast, and then he responded to that by saying, "Yup, I just saw that while I was shitting." So, believe me or not, it's whatever. You don't have to believe me, but I bottom ticked it. New confluence that I'm using. Took me a while. I accidentally discovered it, and it's low-key sauce. 5-minute pointer break of structure is a validation to our first fair value gaps off of a previous order block. Order block sweep. So my thought process was this, right? Order block sweep. How do you qualify an order block? A fair value gap. What do we have? A pointer. What do you need to qualify a pointer as a valid pointer entry? A fair value gap. And so I held on a fair value gap. And you'll see we actually almost invalidated the pointer, but it never closed over the pointer. And a lot of people get really scared, but we never close over the pointer. Instead, we form a fair value gap, we follow our rules, and we continue to form fair value gaps. NQ looked way better for a long. It did. I had both. I had both contracts. I bottom ticked both NQ and ES on this. And I'm going to show you on ES because it was way cleaner because I could target these highs up here. In fact, I actually have a screenshot of me saying that. Again, it's not worth the only reason I'm going through the motion of showing you the screenshots is because it's so unbelievable, at least from my perspective, that I'm bottom ticking and top ticking. I've never been able to do that, and I'm doing it like crazy now with this new confluence. So I said, remember how I was targeting London highs? And then that was when it hit London highs. And then he said, holy fuck, that's insane. Okay, take it how you will. You don't have to believe me. I don't get paid for you to believe me. I just get paid to teach. And you're not paying, so the market is. And I'm doing it out of the kindness of my heart for my troops. Leave a comment if you're sexually aroused by trading. So that being said, we're creating fair value gaps outside the order block range, therefore qualifying this as an order block. At this point, my targets were PDL, making sure that this inverse does not hold to the downside, targeting EQ trend line and EQ structural EQ, which falls somewhere around this first fair value gap. I trim on that first fair value gap. You'll see, boom, Schmink City right there. There was a trim. And now I'm just holding up to our SLD up here, and I'm just watching reactions on high res liquidity. Whoops. High res liquidity, pulling up into EQ range, targeting external source of liquidity. We start at an external source of liquidity, targeting an external source of liquidity. This should all be easy till we get here, should all be easy till we get to here, and right there. Okay, targeting that SLD right there. And it was very, very slow draw, so boom, done and over with. I was out at this point. I was not trying to take any more trades. We're well beyond my limits of EQ. I had all my entries. I had my, my external. I put all of my trades from external to external, so I don't take anything after that. Once I'm out of the trade, I'm out of the trade. Clean little 50 points there, clean little 20 there. So a very, very good trading day for me. especially experiencing a top tick and bottom tick to this degree. I did it yesterday in Asia 4 times in a row. That was insane. Literally an insane Asia session. I don't know even know if any of my none of my executions are on here because I never use this, but you can see execution. I took a trade here, took a trade here. I believe I did that in New York too. I did that in New York as well. It is the same trade, bro. Here to here, here to here. Literally the identical move. I made the identical move all week, bro. I don't know what it was about these bottom six, but they were just so easy this week with these moves. Very simple trades today. Rackies were printed. Absolute rackies were printed. I will be live Monday through Friday this upcoming week. No bank holiday, so we'll have a full week of trading. I'll be live from 9-ish, 9:15 a.m. to right around 11:30-ish, and then from right around 1:30-ish to right around 3:30-ish New York time. So if you want to tap in and watch my streams, there is a link in my bio for that. I do my best to teach you guys for free. Hopefully you learn a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, boys and girls, I will see y'all later. Bye-bye, my sweet lovelies. Have a great weekend. I am posting a video this weekend, so stay tuned.